Hello everyone, it is so good to be back. If you missed it, I just got back from Greece. I had a wonderful time, learned a ton of Greek folk magic, as well as some Greek history and mythology and things like that. So if you missed it, I had a big fat Greek vlog. So I'll link it down below in the description box if you missed that, if you wanted to catch up on everything that I learned in Greece. But today I'm going to be showing you a very strange heptagram ritual, one which I have created myself. I'm always getting asked in the comments to share more chaos magic, particularly when it comes to my own practice and my own rituals. I'm always asked to share more planetary magic. I've been asked many times to show how I marry ceremonial magic with folk magic. And so that is what this ritual is. This ritual encompasses all of that. It is planetary magic inspired by ceremonial magic with some folk magic components woven into it. So let's get into it. Let me share one of my personal rituals with you. So the heptagram is a 7-pointed star, one which I have programmed the points to mean specific things as it corresponds to planetary magic. I took inspiration from the Golden Dawn's hexagram ritual, married it with a little bit of folk magic by subbing the hexagram with the heptagram. I will totally explain all of this in a moment, why I chose to do this. And then there are also some influences from the Kabbalistic tree of life, which I will also explain. Well, I'm going to take you to my desk in a moment and I'm going to actually show you the 7-pointed star. And for any ceremonial magicians out there watching this, yes, I do know that there are other heptagram rituals out there. However, the points are associated with different planetary energies, and the heptagram is used slightly differently in those rituals. So I am not claiming that I have created something out of nothing. There are definitely other heptagram rituals out there. This is just my own variation. But I wanted to kind of explain the purpose of this ritual first before I show you the star and everything, how to use it, what I do with it. The purpose of this ritual is to invoke planetary energies. And I've made it a very streamlined, efficient way of invoking planetary energies without having to go through this whole long ceremonial ritual. So this is where I have trouble sharing some of my personal rituals because it's so far down the rabbit hole that I feel like I need to add in so much backstory in order for this video to even make sense. So if you're not familiar with chaos magic, I've got a whole playlist on the homepage of my YouTube channel. If you're not familiar with planetary magic, I also have a playlist on the homepage of my YouTube channel. So I encourage you to watch both of those playlists if you're not familiar, because I'm just gonna assume that people know what I'm talking about when I say planetary magic and chaos magic, because the whole point of this ritual is to invoke planetary energies and to banish planetary energies. And I use this throughout the day, whenever I want. If I want to bring in some Venusian energy, if I want to bring in Venus, I use this star. It's very quick, simple, effective. I can do it on the go, on the road. I don't even have to set up supplies to do it. Or maybe if there's some Saturnian energy around me that I want to banish, I will use the star in the banishing method rather than the invoking method, which again, I will totally explain in a moment, to banish that Saturn energy. Because as some of you may know, Saturn can be very restrictive and regimented and structured, disciplined, all those things. So if there are some of the shadow aspects of Saturn showing up in my life and I want to banish some of that Saturnian energy, I can use the 7-pointed star to quickly banish some of that energy from me. Or for example, if I'm about to sit down and write a paper, I have a writing project that I'm working on, and when I want to bring in some energy from Mercury, because Mercury rules the mind, the intellect, it's great for communication and for writing, I will use this heptagram to invoke Mercury into my body. That way I can bring in all of that wonderful Mercury energy while I'm doing my writing session and working on my projects. Or let's say I'm feeling a little depressed, a little sad or whatever, and I'm wanting to work with the sun, because the sun is amazing for lifting spirits. It's great for the ego, for friendship, for vitality. Or maybe even if I'm feeling a little bit physically ill, if I've caught a cold, I can work with the sun to help boost my own physical vitality and my own health. So I would again use this heptagram ritual to invoke the sun in that moment and bring in that sun energy. Another example that I use quite often is Mars. I love invoking Mars energy because Mars is the warrior. It is all about your drive, ambition, temperament, action. It's the oomph, it's the power. Mars is the ultimate warrior. And so when I'm wanting to feel immensely powerful and I'm wanting to step into that warrior-like archetype, I will invoke Mars, again, using this heptagram. So there's many different ways in my daily life that I can use this star, and I would like to teach it to you today because I'm hoping that other people maybe adopt something similar. You don't have to do exactly what I do. Although if you do want to copy my ritual and use this heptagram for yourself with the points that I have associated, awesome, because the more people that use it, the more powerful it becomes, because it becomes somewhat like an egregore. It gets this energy from the collective. So of course I'll share it with you all, and of course you can use it, because the more people that use it, the more powerful it becomes. It works very well for me, it's very effective and quick, but it is blasphemy, okay? It's still chaos magic. It's very much blasphemy. If a traditionalist is watching this, somebody who does like very, very traditional planetary magic, you're probably gonna watch this and be very offended by what I'm about to do. So let me take you over to the desk. I am going to show you this heptagram and all of the points and how I use it and all of that. Okay, so what exactly is a heptagram, you might be asking? It's a 7-pointed star, so there are 7 points along this star, and it's also known as the Elven star. So this is kind of where we start with a little bit of folk magic, because the Elven star is said to be connected to the Fey realm. It's said to be connected to the celestial realm. For me, I really use it for its purpose. I choose to use it as the celestial component. I want it to connect me more to the 4th dimension, which is where I believe the Fey and all of these celestial energies live in. Sometimes it's also called the fairy star. I think the oldest traces of this symbol derive from Kabbalistic tradition, but Christians have also used this star to represent the 7 days it took God to create the universe. I just think the number 7 is really powerful and spiritual in general, so I really like the 7-pointed star simply for the numerology of number 7. The word 7 is so powerful if you think of the 7 days of the week, the 7 chakras, the 7 traditional planets. This symbol was also used by alchemists because the 7 points perfectly match the 7 metals, which were lead, copper, mercury, silver, tin, gold, and iron. It can relate to the 7 colors of the rainbow. In Christianity, there are 7 deadly sins, 7 virtues, and 7 gifts from the Holy Spirit. And even in Hinduism, there is a concept of the 7 levels of heaven and the 7 levels of the underworld. Buddhists believe that Buddha took 7 steps after rising. I mean, it's abundant in many, many cultures. The number 7 is magical. So now that we've established what the heptagram is, I want to show you the points and why I have associated each planet with each specific point. So I have assigned each point on this heptagram with a very specific planet, and I assigned them using inspiration from the Kabbalistic tree of life. So we have the sun at the very top here, and you might wonder, why do you not have these in order? Why does it not go whatever's closest to the sun, and then as you work your way down, what is furthest away from the sun? But as you notice with this star, this is not a linear progression. From the sun, you can end up going all the way down here, or all the way over here, up here, over here, etc. It's not a straight line. So these planets are not ordered by their direction of the sun, how close they are to the sun. And if you're someone that studies a Kabbalistic tree of life, you might understand why I chose to put these in each corner. So we have the sun at the top, we have Jupiter over here, Saturn over here, Mars here, Venus here, Mercury here, and the moon here. I will argue till the ends of the earth why each one of these planets needs to be in the corner I have associated it with. So if you don't agree with me, that's fine. Go make your own ritual. I'm feeling very spicy today, and I'm very confident in my research that this feels intuitively good to me. Now, I have arrows on here to indicate the invoking and the banishing directions, but I'll get into that in a second. So let's say I want to invoke the sun. Let's go back to my example of I'm coming down with a cold, I'm feeling really sick, I really want to bring in sun energy to help heal my body, to give me a boost of vitality and good health. To invoke the sun, I would create this 7-pointed star starting at the top here where the sun is. I would go in the direction of invoking because I want to invoke this energy, not banish it. So I would invoke the sun by drawing the star like this. And I can draw it in the air with smoke. I can draw it in the sand on a beach. I can draw it in my mind. I can take my spit and draw it on a window. You can draw this however and whenever you want, and that's what makes this ritual so versatile. I will literally be out and about in my car and take my finger and trace the direction that I want just on my car window. Like, so let's say I want protection for my car or something, so I want to bring in some Saturn energy. So I would invoke Saturn and draw the 7-pointed star in the direction of invoking Saturn on my car window. But anyways, let's go back to the sun. Okay, so to invoke, again, I would start up where the sun is, and I would draw in the invoking direction to bring that energy in. Now, if for some reason I wanted to banish sun energy, which I have never run into a situation where I've ever wanted to banish sun energy, but you know, let's say I did. You can see the little arrows here. This one's invoking, this one's banishing. And you would go the complete opposite way in order to banish sun energy. So again, this would be invoking, this would be banishing. And so if you notice, all of the invoking directions are the closest point towards the clockwise direction. So clockwise for me is to bring things in, right? Counterclockwise is to push things away. So everything that is closer clockwise is going to be invoking. Everything that is closer counterclockwise is going to be banishing. So I hope that that makes sense. That's what all these arrows here are for. So for example, over here with Jupiter, you have this arrow pointing towards me because I want to invoke Jupiter energy, and then you have this arrow up here pointing away from me as in back towards the source. So this arrow pointing from Jupiter to me is invoking. This arrow pointing towards Jupiter is returning that Jupiter energy. So I am banishing Jupiter and pushing that back to Jupiter and out of my life. Let's take another example here. If I want to invoke the moon, because the moon is amazing for tapping into psychic phenomena and intuition, the divine feminine, emotions, even magic and mysticism, the moon is excellent for spell work. So if I wanted to bring in some moon energy when I'm doing some spell work, if I wanted to add an additional layer to my ritual, I can do a quick invoking ritual with the moon by using the invoking direction, and I would just trace this in the direction of invoking that moon. And that's it. Very, very simple. This is planetary magic. This is a little bit of ceremonial magic meets a folk magic style because it's not so regimented and structured. It's a little bit more ecstatic and free flowing, but you don't have to set up a bunch of fancy tools. You don't have to go through this long invocation where you're chanting all of these letters or words or whatever in order to bring in whatever. I can bypass all of that and just be tracing this in the air in the direction that I want, whether I want to invoke something or to banish something. So I hope that this inspires you to maybe come up with your own ritual. Again, you are more than welcome to use mine. Please let me know in the comments if this made sense. I really, really hope it did. I tried my best to explain it, but it comes with, it's one of those rituals where you have to know a lot of other stuff before even knowing what the hell I'm talking about in this video. So again, apologies if it did not make sense. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in another video soon.